All right, let's talk about one of the most powerful and frankly terrifying novels ever written. A book that decades and decades later still feels like it's holding a mirror up to our world and our deepest fears about power, truth, and control. You know, this one line from George Orwell's 1984, it's the chilling heart of the entire story. Just think about that command: abandon reality itself. And that forces us to ask a really important question. I mean, really, why does this dystopian vision from 1949 feel so incredibly, eerily familiar to us today? Well, the answer isn't just hidden away in the book's pages, it's practically flashing across our news feeds. 10,000%. That's not just a sales bump, that is a massive cultural alarm bell going off. The moment a political advisor used the phrase alternative facts, people didn't just scratch their heads. They immediately reached for Orwell. It's like his book became the go-to manual for understanding what was happening. And that, right there, is the enduring power of this story. But to really get the warning, you have to understand the man who gave it. So who was George Orwell? What did he experience that let him see the future with such terrifying clarity? Well, Orwell, whose real name was Eric Blair, lived a life that was absolutely defined by conflict. As a colonial police officer in Burma, he got a front-row seat to the ugly side of empire. Then, fighting against fascism in the Spanish Civil War, he saw firsthand how totalitarian governments would lie, twist the truth, and betray their own people. These weren't just bullet points on a resume. They were the raw, painful experiences that he poured into his masterpiece, a book he literally raced to finish as tuberculosis was taking his life. And this quote, I think, really nails who he was. Orwell wasn't just some guy writing stories. He was a moral force, a writer who put everything on the line because he believed so fiercely in justice and had such a deep hatred for unchecked power. So, now let's step inside the world that he created. A terrifying, gray, brutal place called Oceania, where the very idea of an individual has been completely stamped out. Running the whole show is the party. And don't think of it like a political party, we know. No, this is an all-consuming machine that controls your job, your family, history itself, and even what you're allowed to think. And the face of the party is Big Brother. You know, it almost doesn't matter if he's a real person or just an invention. His eyes are everywhere. It's this powerful psychological tool to make sure that nobody ever feels like they're truly alone. And how is he always watching? Through the telescreen. I want you to imagine a TV that you can never, ever turn off. And it's not just blasting propaganda at you all day, it's also watching you, listening to every single whisper, every sigh, 24/7. It is the ultimate instrument of control. And this is where it gets really twisted. The whole government is built on deception. The Ministry of Peace, its job is to wage constant war. The Ministry of Truth, its job is to create lies. And the Ministry of Love, well, that's where you go to be tortured. This isn't just a sick joke. It's a core principle of the government's power to make words mean their exact opposite. Which brings us to the party's most insidious weapons. And they're not bombs or guns. No. They are psychological tools designed to completely dismantle the human mind by controlling language and thought itself. First up, you've got Newspeak. See, the party figured something revolutionary out. If you can control language, you can control thought. So they started shrinking the vocabulary. Their goal? To literally make rebellion, what they call thought crime, impossible, simply because the words you'd need to even form that rebellious idea wouldn't exist anymore. And then there's Doublethink. This is the insane mental gymnastics you have to perform just to survive in Oceania. It's the ability to know deep down that the party is lying to you, but at the same time, to believe that lie with every fiber of your being. It's believing that war is peace, that freedom is slavery. It is the absolute, total surrender of your mind. So you see, this creates this perfect, vicious cycle. The party uses language to poison thought, and once your thoughts are poisoned, you can't use language to fight back against the party. It's a perfect, self-policing prison for the mind. Now, I know this all sounds like some far-off dark sci-fi story, but let's bring it into our world, right now. How do the terrifying ideas from 1984 actually stack up against our reality today? Okay, let's break this down. Orwell's forced telescreens, we have smartphones we carry everywhere, smart speakers that are always on, always listening, and CCTV cameras on every street corner. His thought police, we have AI algorithms that scan everything we post on social media. The memory hole for destroying history, we've got digital data that can be erased or changed in an instant. And Big Brother, well, it's not just one guy anymore. It's this powerful mix of governments and massive tech companies. And the scale of this, it's just staggering. Every single day, we generate 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. That's a number so big, it's hard to even wrap your head around it. That's our clicks, our likes, our locations, our private conversations, all of it collected, stored, and analyzed. But here is the most profound and maybe the most disturbing difference. Orwell imagined a world where the government forced surveillance on everyone. He never saw today's twist coming. For us, so much of the surveillance is voluntary. We are the ones who carry the telescreen in our pocket. We are the ones who click, "I accept" on terms and conditions we never read, trading away our privacy for a little bit of convenience. So where does that leave us? What do we do? Well, it brings us right back to the central theme of Orwell's warning, this fragile, essential, and never-ending battle for objective truth. And this quote from Orwell, it just cuts right through all the noise. Real freedom isn't about being comfortable. It's about having the difficult, sometimes unpopular right to speak the truth, especially when the people in power don't want you to. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one question to think about. In a world full of alternative facts, AI algorithms, and a constant flood of information designed to shape your opinions, who are you letting control your reality? Who controls your truth? The battle that Orwell wrote about back in 1949, it's not just in a book anymore. It's the defining challenge of our time.